Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, stories from the 78, going a little north up to Lake Forest, and I'm with my friend Katherine Reay. How are you, Katherine?
Fine, thanks. How are you? Doing well.
I'm doing well too. Enjoying this early spring-ish, late winter day. And speaking of that, I always, for some reason in my head, always equate like Germany and Berlin and World War II and all that stuff as cold and gray for whatever reason. I don't know. But you wrote this, your 11th book, The Berlin Letters, correct?
Yes. And I agree with you. When I think of that time period and East Berlin, I think of cold and gray as well.
It's bizarre, right? How that is just kind of in the American psyche, but nonetheless it is. But it's, a fantastic journey into the world of the CIA. So why don't you explain, just because I think it's very unique and interesting, and the 11th book. So you've done a few of these now, and you still are finding stories to tell. So fantastic.
Still finding new stories to tell. So this story is about a CIA code breaker, and it was based on the real work of the Venona project, which was a CIA code breaking project. And a young woman discovers that her father, through an old code, which brings up a childhood memory, she discovers that her father, whom she has long presumed dead, is actually living in East Berlin still and is languishing in a Stasi prison. So she, of course, impetuously decides to go over and break him out. And the action takes place in the first week of November 1989. And with no
Oh.
plan, she heads on over and she meets friend, foe, betrayal, punk, a whole lot of other things in an attempt to free her father.
Yeah, I read it a little bit in the book, and you had her undercover as punk rock, which is very of that era of the late
Yeah.
80s in Berlin. Did you get a chance to go over to Germany to just do any research? I mean, I did this last summer, and it's such a fascinating area of the country and world.
So fascinating. And I did get over there in February of 2023 while I was writing the book. And that feet on the ground experience really changed the story. It just brought so much more texture and even pace. So I loved my days there. It was incredibly informative.
So, what made you want to tell this story in particular with the CIA and Berlin and the Cold War, or the whole thing? Because, I mean, as much as we think that the Cold War is over, people would, I mean, there's like Netflix documentaries about how, oh, well, it might be over, but there's still like another chapter of it going on right now. So, it's very topical, is what I'm saying.
It's very topical. I mean, it's a huge swath of 20th century history and still topical and relevant today. But another thing is, with the two superpowers at the time never going to head, there are lots of shadows and skirmishes, and there's so much history there that is fascinating. In fact, in the book, I use so much real stuff because I can't make that stuff up. I mean, the incredible stuff that happened, and Berlin was ground zero for Cold War
Hmm.
tensions. So it just was waiting to be told. And I did a little bit of Cold War, actually a lot of War research when I was researching the previous novel, A Shadow in Moscow. And the Berlin Wall did not fit that story, but it just intrigued me both as a character and as the structure of a story. So the Berlin Letter starts the day the wall goes up, August 13, 1961, and the story ends the day the wall goes down, November 9th, 1989.
Yeah, and just being there in that part of the world, seeing that happen, or seeing where it happened firsthand. I mean, if anybody has the opportunity to do that, I think you should, just because it truly is history right there. I would say it's as much history as going to the site of the Twin Towers in New York City, where you see the waterfalls. I mean, it's right there for you to look at. So, for people who are like, did that really happen? Oh, yeah, it really happened.
Yeah, I wrote it. I agree with you. I think it's pretty powerful to go see.
Is this, have you lived in Chicago your whole life? The Chicago area?
I've not, but I've lived in Chicago longer than I've lived anywhere else. So Chicago has always been home to a degree, which I love. And right now I'm back, which I also love. Um, yeah, so I think like a Chicagoan. That's the way I phrase it.
Right. And I imagine thinking like a Chicagoan gets some of these ideas percolating for you, right? Like, just Chicago sees a lot of its fair share of politics and crime and unique crime or unique politics, right? So I imagine some of that could help percolate a story that you have in mind.
It always can. There are always great stories in Chicago to be told.
And you have a few, I mean, I know you had a signing not too long ago. You have a couple others coming up here in March for that coincide with Women History Month and the whole thing.
Yes, I'll be at Prairie Path Books on I think it's Saturday the 23rd, and then Friday evening and that's out in Wheaton. And then on Friday evening the 22nd, I'll be at the Book Bin in Northbrook. So I've got those two scheduled. But living in Chicago, when I get off tour, I'll probably be at others throughout the summer and into the fall. And I do put them all on my website. But it's really nice to be able to continue those conversations about great books in your hometown.
And you mentioned the website. What is the website?
Oh, my name all squished together, Katherine Reay, and the last name is Reay. It's just katherinereay.com.
And you did mention are you on tour right now? Because I know you're not up in Lake Forest right now. You're out on the road doing your thing, right?
I'm out on the road doing my thing, and today I'm in Mount Pleasant, North Carolina.
Oh, it's probably a little warmer than it is here in your hometown. It's a little chilly today after St. Patrick's Day here.
A little bit, but it's only 56 here today.
Oh, it is a little chilly.
It's a little chilly. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we'll see you back here in Chicago this weekend, the 23rd, like you said. And for people who want to buy the book, I imagine they can go to the website on your website.
Absolutely. Lots of buying, online buying sites are there on the books page, and local bookstores. The great thing about local bookstores is they'll order any book you want. So local bookstores will have it. And as I said, I've got all the buying sites on my website too.
Awesome. Well, Katherine, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom. Bye-bye.